feel like if you're considering solo travel, it's because of one of three reasons. Number one, you literally don't have anybody to travel with. Like maybe you have friends and family that you would love to go places with, but they don't prioritize travel like you do. Number two, you tried traveling with people, traveling with those you love, and you just had a horrible experience. Been there, definitely know about that one. Number three, you want to level up your life and just completely give yourself an opportunity to do something on your own. Or you could be like me, and it's all three of those reasons. Regardless of why you reached this point, I'm here to tell you something that you may not have considered: taking a cruise. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why a cruise is the best way to dip your foot in the solo travel pool. So stay tuned as I get into this video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not, and let's talk about it. Okay, so to really dive into this, I have to kind of tell you guys about where I was when I started. So when I did my first solo cruise, we were coming out of the pandemic. It was the end of 2021, and I had turned 30 the previous year. So I turned 30 during the pandemic and it was in the house all at the beginning of my 30s. If y'all know anything about women, it's something about those milestone birthdays that just have you in your feelings. So imagine turning 30 and being in the house during the pandemic. So I told myself, as I was watching the numbers going up and going through all of that kind of stuff that we went through during that time, that if we ever got outside, my life was going to be different. I ended up leaving a relationship I had been in for 7 years. I had just really kind of started mentally growing and finding ways to make money online and just do some of everything. So I was turning my entire life upside down. So I was really, really excited when things started to open back up and there was an opportunity to go on a cruise. So being that I had so many changes going on in my life, the biggest thing I wanted to do was really get out and explore the world. Now, I didn't grow up traveling. My family, we didn't do family vacations or really go anywhere. So I was very new to everything. So when I chose cruising, I did 2 cruises before I started solo traveling, and I loved them. But both of them, there were situations that popped off with the people I traveled with. So I knew in the back of my mind, I enjoyed cruising, but I didn't enjoy the experience with those people. So that was kind of what pushed me to try cruising. And in my mind, I just kind of felt like it would be a great way to see a number of places without being locked into having to navigate moving around and things like that. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about. So now that you guys know how I got started, let's get into 5 reasons why I believe cruising is the best thing for solo travelers. So like I told you guys, as a new traveler, I really didn't know my travel style or what to expect. And so one of the reasons why I love cruising is because it gives you an opportunity to do so many different things. There are a ton of activities. You can try different things. Typically, they don't cost money. Some experiences cost money, but a lot of times everything is included and you're able to try different things that you may not try at home. So for example, I've done some workout classes. I did a 90 shake weight class during my solo trip on Virgin Voyages. And let me tell you guys, that is something I would never do anywhere else. But I really enjoyed it. And it was something so different and outside of my comfort zone. So I also love that you can take different little classes and things. I've done one making shots. I've played bingo on a ship, trivia. So you have all of those options of things to do without having to really create your own itinerary or really be locked into that thing. Because the great thing about being on a ship is if you're in a class or you're doing something that you don't like, you can easily just pick up and leave and there's nothing to it. So the second most important reason why I prefer cruising as a solo traveler over anything else is the fact that I don't have to drive around. Y'all, I'm not good driving at home. I am a passenger princess. Is that what they call them these days? But I don't like driving. I would love to be driven around. However, I don't necessarily feel comfortable jumping in and out of Ubers and Lyfts when I go places. So cruising alleviates all of that. So you're able to actually get on this cruise ship, know that you're going to be driven wherever you want to go, and you're going to make it there safely. I know that there are a lot of questions about cruises and things like that. Did y'all hear what I said at the beginning? 12 cruises, y'all, and I have been just fine. So they're relatively safe, and you're going to be able to go all those places without having to get behind a wheel. And another thing about that is like, you don't have to learn the rules of the road. That is probably one of my biggest fears when it comes to traveling somewhere, is trying to drive and learn the rules of those roads, trying to learn like if you have to drive on the left side of the street. Is that right? We drive on the right, right? Yeah, the left side of the street. See, y'all, I told y'all I don't need to be behind the wheel. But those type of questions and those type of things are things that I don't have to know when I'm on a cruise ship. But the third reason why I prefer cruising over everything else as a solo traveler is the ability to visit multiple places at once. Now, as a new cruiser, I typically recommend that you do something between 3 to 5 days, because you want to get a feel for how you feel on a ship and take into account if you're going to get motion sickness or any of that. There's medication and things you can take for that, but you definitely want to know how you feel on a cruise before you lock yourself into 7, 8, 10-day cruises, because they have all of those options. But I love being able to see multiple places. So as I told you guys, I didn't do a lot of traveling growing up. And so when I first decided I was going to start cruising multiple times and solo traveling, I wanted to see as many different places as possible. And so cruising allowed me to go to 2, sometimes 3 different places on a trip. And so these are places that you're going to love to go. Like, they're desirable locations. And I feel like it's the perfect way to get like a preview or a little sample of places, so that you can first learn what type of destinations you like, and then also your travel style. So cruises go places like the Bahamas, Mexico, you can go to Jamaica, you can go to the Dominican Republic. Like, these are all places that you're able to see there. And so of course they're all inclusives that are there. And so anytime you want to go back, you can at least say like, I have a feel for this place. I've visited for a day, and this will be somewhere I would love to come and spend more time in the future. And speaking of visiting multiple places at once, another example of why this is such a great option is you don't have to navigate getting hotels or traveling around different places. So when I visited Greece, I did a cruise with Virgin Voyages, and I was able to go to Mykonos, Santorini, Rhodes, and Bodrum, Turkey. Now, of course, if you're going to Greece, Greece is a big trip. It's an amazing opportunity. So you want to see as much as possible, but especially as a solo traveler, it can be scary trying to figure out how to navigate those different islands and having to book hotels in all those different places. You're dealing with currency exchanges. You're dealing with trying to figure out how everything operates, check-in times, and just there's so many moving parts when you're planning an international trip. So I loved being able to get on a ship with Virgin Voyages and visit those multiple places and know that I'm going to see each one every day. And the thing I love too about that sailing in particular was we spent the night in Mykonos. And if you've heard anything about Mykonos, you know it's like party central. They also have a cruise that leaves out of Barcelona that does this in Ibiza, but they spend the night in those ports. And so you're able to hop on and off the ship, go to like Mykonos, experience the nightlife, and get back on the ship as you please. And from there, you know that your food is going to be included. You know that you don't have to worry about any of those little moving parts that you would if you were booking individual vacations. Speaking of reasons why I prefer cruising over other means of travel as a solo traveler is the all-inclusive component. So like I mentioned about Greece and getting back on the ship to eat, for the most part, when you cruise, everything is going to be included. You're going to have some level of food. Now, the better food is typically going to be an upcharge in a specialty restaurant unless you're on Virgin Voyages. But like I was saying, you're going to have food included. You're going to have access to the shows and the entertainment. And so you are not going to be nickel and dimed and coming out of pocket for every little thing. That's one of the worst parts for me about traveling is when I've spent the money to fly there and dealt with like all of the arrangements, and then you get there and there are more unexpected charges. It's just like the worst. And so then you have to figure out how to plan that, or you come back in the hole, which is one of the worst things you can do. So I love that component about cruising, that it is kind of an all-inclusive option unless you want to do upgrades. With the included food portion, the other thing that's really good is the fact that if you don't like something, typically you can just pick up and go and get something else. When you're traveling as a solo traveler and you are researching restaurants and you're reading up on them and reading reviews, you have to get like, say, an Uber or Lyft to get to that restaurant. If you don't like it, I mean, you're just kind of out of luck. Y'all know I want to say SOL, but you're really out of luck. And so that's the good thing about cruising, is that it gives you an opportunity to try different foods. And if you don't like them, so be it. You can try something else and it's already included. So I definitely love that aspect of the all-inclusive and feel like that is like one of the hugest selling points of cruising over other means of travel. Last but not least, when it comes to reasons why I prefer cruising over other means of travel as a solo traveler, is staff-led excursions. I love the fact that someone who works for the cruise line or works for a trusted entity will be leading you on excursions when you get off the ship. I know that's one of the biggest concerns for solo travelers, is the safety component. And so I just love being able to know that someone who is trusted and knows this itinerary and knows the place I'm traveling through and through is leading me to where I need to go. Like you guys will hear me say over and over, for me, the biggest fear is the transport portion between trying to get different places when I get to a country. So I don't like having to get taxis, get Ubers, and it's just such an uncomfortable feeling when you are getting in a vehicle in a place you don't know. And you can map it and look all day, but when you're miles away from anybody, it just is what it is. And so usually with these cruise-led staffed excursions, you are going to be in an air-conditioned vehicle. They're going to pick you up from the cruise port, so it's not going to be you having to make your way to them. They're going to make their way to you. You get to a certain meeting place, you'll find out what that is, and they take you to these different spots so you can really get a feel for those places from like an authentic local or someone who's like super familiar with it. And this is also a great way to meet other travelers, especially on your cruise, because if you book excursions with your cruise line, you're going to be on these excursions with people that are on the ship with you. You may or may not have seen them before actually boarding or while you were on the ship, but once you get to that intimate kind of small group led excursion, you're going to be with that group of people, and it gives you the potential to make friends if you want to. All right, so that is going to conclude this video. I hope this helped you with choosing a cruise for your first solo adventure. If you are interested in booking a cruise with Virgin Voyages, I would love to help you as your travel planner. I have recently become fully engaged in helping you guys travel because I've done so much and it's been so life-changing for me. I just want to see you guys have the same feeling and see more of the world. So be sure to reach out to me via email. You can email me at hello@thegiandanielle.com or leave a message down in the description. I will reach out to you. If you have suggestions for other videos I should do, be sure to let me know too, because I would love to share more information and help you plan your first solo trip. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.